To the Joven Sports Show. Today we're talking about NFL headlines that report in the training camp this week. So that's a big deal. Are these players actually going to go out there? What is that going to look like? And then we're going to move on to Major League Baseball headlines. Major League Baseball is starting up on Thursday. And there's a lot of headlines going on there. And will this work out? Vinny, let's start with the NFL, man. Rookies report tomorrow, Tuesday. How's this
Yeah.
going to look?
Um, well, they kind of laid it out today. Nothing like finalizing the deal last minute to make sure everybody's on the same page with,
Yeah.
reporting and COVID and how that's going to work. But from what it sounds like, everybody, the rookies at least, will kind of show up, get tested, and then go home. Nobody will go in the facility. They'll come back, I think, 2 days later. If they will take another test at that point. If both of those come back negative and on the fifth day basically, then they can come into the facility and get going. So that's going to happen for the rookies on starting tomorrow or on Tuesday, sorry, and then it's going to kind of progress. Like quarterbacks on Thursday, they'll do the same process. They'll test, wait 2 days, test, wait 2 days, and if that's good to go, then it's on. And then from what it sounds like, they will be tested every day for the first 2 weeks once they're in the facility actually working out. Um, if the positives are below 5% after 2 weeks, then they will kind of start slowly scaling it back, the testing. Um, so that sounds like what they agreed on. And yeah, both sides feel good about it, or, I guess as good as you can. But that's kind of where it's at.
Yeah, I really hope this just works. It seems like all the other sports are taking care of this well. The NFL has gotten some flack the last couple of days, but not getting a deal done here. Like they weren't planned and ready for this. So I don't know. Just cross my fingers behind my back, hoping this is all going to work out well and training camp starts without a hitch. Maybe we see super aggressive face masks that cover all the way down people's necks. Who knows? But it's going to be an interesting year, and I hope we get football for a full 20 weeks, man.
What's your gut feeling? Do you think when from the time, let's say everybody's in the building, right? Veterans, quarterbacks, rookies. Do you think there are any major setbacks where they have to pull back and say, okay, everyone go quarantine, or I don't know, I don't know. It didn't sound like you read like Peter King's full article, but it sounded like they really
Mm-hmm.
went into depth about the Minnesota Vikings and how they're planning to handle it. And um, again, they've got like temperature stations set up, tests every day. They'll have the lockers completely spread out, showers, cold and hot tubs. Um,
Yeah, I'm not too honestly. I'm not too worried about the players. I think they're going to be taken care of, and they're going to be the most watched. Obviously,
totally.
it's going to be more other guys in the facility, and it's not
Yeah.
whether like life or death or anything. But like, what about the equipment guys? Like, what if all the equipment guys go down? Right? Like, that's a major setback for a team, right? Like, especially in the NFL. So, a training staff, that guys that you trust that are taping your ankles. I mean, little stuff like that goes a long way with these players.
For
And I
sure.
think that's going to maybe hit pretty hard. And if the virus starts hitting those guys.
Big time. That's one of the things that like the player unions like still trying to figure out, right? Like everyone's still trying to figure out like people are going to get this. Like it's going to happen. There will be
Hmm.
cases. The Vikings even said they've got like almost a unit of the building, like a quarantine zone for
Yeah,
players. Like they don't have to leave the facility and go back to their families. Like there's places for them to stay and watch film and still like virtually be in team meetings and stuff. So they've got it as built out as you could possibly think,
yeah,
in to be ready for it. But JC Treader, who's I believe the center for the Browns, had a really good point. He was really talking about like what is going to be the protocol if, let's say Friday comes and we're week 2 and, the quarterback tests positive, or let's say the left guard. Those guys have been sitting in the meeting room exposing to the other 10 guys or the other 3 or 4 guys in that room. What happens? Because if you test positive, like, are
well,
you
I
out?
like Bruce Arians actually brought this up like
Okay.
maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and he was saying he wanted a fourth quarterback on his roster, and they were doing this during the union meetings where get a quarterback on the roster. He doesn't
Mm-hmm.
attend any practices or anything like that, but he has the playbook. He does film on his own, and he's just like your super safety net guy. because he goes, we can replace almost any position except quarterback that doesn't know our offense. So he
Right.
was recommending that the NFL allow that 54th man and allow a fourth quarterback on the roster, but not necessarily be around the team in case of emergencies. I really like that idea. And when it comes down to it this season, with all this stuff, it's not going to be completely fair, and we got to accept that.
Mm-hmm.
Like baseball said, like most likely the team that wins the World Series this season is the team with the most depth. Like, what if a team loses 12 guys?
Yeah, no,
So
for sure. And I mean, let's say outside of the quarterback, because I mean that's obviously a great idea. But what if I think the example that they had is what if like the defensive backs coach tests positive Saturday morning,
mhm.
right? And so do you like go into the game without safeties and corners, or do those guys roll the dice and play anyways? Like even though they're asymptomatic, like how is this whole thing going to work? Because they got to have some kind of protocol because some players are going to be like, "Hey, I'm playing, and I don't care."
Yeah,
If you give them
regardless.
the choice, right? Like they're going to play. Some guys are going to err on the side of caution. Like you have to have something in place, but what does that look like if someone tests positive? Like, are they at home for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? They miss the next two games. Like they're going to have to get this like squared away. But I'm
Mhm.
actually kind of glad that they haven't like put that in place yet. Like it's kind of like let's figure this out as we go and see what happens because you know anything could happen, and they're just gonna have to
Right.
find a way around it and find a way to deal with it. So it'll be interesting for sure. But I think there's obviously a lot on the line when it comes to this. So, both sides having to like realistic expectations. Like if one person tests positive, you can't shut the whole thing down. It's like you got to
Yeah.
keep going and figure it out. But I don't know,
Yeah. I mean,
man.
look what these other sports leagues are doing, like the NBA. You test positive, they put you in quarantine, they get you away from everybody, and hey, the league continues
Right.
as it was intended to. So I don't see them stopping the NFL, dude. There's too much money in it, and we all know that. I mean, the NFL is a huge media sport, man. So
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see the NFL shortening their season, closing down, unless like the pandemic literally like strikes every single player, or if like one player actually does die from this or something really serious happens. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Yep.
unless something to the absolute extreme happens, I think the NFL is playing a full season. Hopefully, a vaccine comes out maybe in the middle of the season, and there's no more worries, and everything goes on as planned. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
hoping for, and I think I'm actually pretty positive that's the way it's going to roll. So
For sure.
yeah,
And I mean, speaking of that, I mean, the NBA announced today the first time since July 13th, like their last round of testing, that they had zero cases. Now, it's a lot different. Like you're in that bubble, you're quarantined, right?
yeah,
Like, people just kind of follow the rules. Like, either
yeah. No
everyone's
much you
getting it or
can
no
mess
one's
up.
getting it. Yeah.
Hey, with
So,
the snitch line, man.
yeah,
Yeah, you're not getting away with anything.
exactly. So that's obviously good signs, though. A couple hundred guys, like all together, along with like coaches and team administrators and things, like no positive cases. Like, and I keep hearing that baseball's obviously got like really low numbers from what it sounds like, if
Yeah,
any. So hopefully this is a kind of a microcosm we're going to see around, but it's going to change.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, I just hope we can stop talking about COVID and just start talking about some actual sports here.
Amen.
So hopefully
Amen.
Thursday is the day. And you got anything else in the NFL you wanted to talk about? There's not really much else than maybe after a player maybe tears his Achilles or something tomorrow while he's getting tested or something. But
Yeah, I think we're probably a couple days away from like some real news coming down the pipeline.
yeah.
But
Oh, and by the way, I'm going to remind you here on the podcast, Commissioner, you need to get the fantasy football league started.
I know I got a notification like it like hit me out of the blue, and honestly, it was like whoa, like I forgot like
Yeah, I
about
feel like I've been
fantasy.
ignoring
Like
that the fact that like football season's upon us because I didn't want to get my hopes up.
I've honestly been so like just happy about being able to play like DFS and look for like golf or with
Yeah,
baseball around the corner. It's like cool. Like I'm gonna start like diving in on that, start reserving some rooms, and then I got the Yahoo notification about fantasy football. I was like, oh, almost forgot about that. So exciting, man! I'm so ready for it. I feel like
it's time, baby.
we're about to get hit with the avalanche of sports like baseball, NBA, NFL training camp. Golf is full steam ahead. NASCAR is rocking and rolling. Like we're gonna have like 8 months of sports crammed into like
Yeah,
three
I
months. It's
told
gonna be
uh,
sweet.
I told my wife that the last couple of months are the last best months of her life because football's back, baseball's back, golf is on. Like it's sports season, baby. It's DFS season. She's only going to see me maybe 2 more months out of the year.
Better enjoy it now.
Exactly. But yeah, man. So speaking of Thursday, we got Major League Baseball opening up. We got 2 games Thursday night. Then we got a full slate of 13 on Friday. I'm fired up, man. I'm fired up just to look at some box scores.
It's gonna be so nice. Like even seeing, I don't know if you tuned in Sunday night, to the game at Wrigley, the Cubs and White
Yep.
Sox. Like I'm with you. First off, it was super weird at first with the fans, but
Yeah.
it really depends on the camera angle, man. Like if they're just showing the home plate and like the on field stuff that's going on, which is what they normally will do,
Yeah.
um, it's fine. It's not a huge difference. Like you notice behind the plate it's pretty dead, but
You
it's
know
fine.
what I wish they did have? Like, okay, no fans. That's cool. But like get like 20 people. They have to take a test beforehand, but they get to sit really separately in the outfield. I miss seeing people
Mm.
fight over home runs.
Not
I
just
wanted
that,
like
like
so that was the weird part. Like it's like watching a Marlins game. Like they hit a bomb, no one's there, but the ball bounces like 4 times and like 5 guys are diving after it. Like I
what
still love
about
to see
the
that.
what about like regular, baseball? Like you have the one random like fat guy that's sitting in, section 320 by himself.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
you
just
you
eating
you win a
peanuts, spilling it
lottery.
all over his stomach.
Yeah, you win a lottery, you get a chance to go by yourself, sit in one section, you
Yeah.
claim the whole section to
It's like
yourself.
dead
Like,
center field.
yeah, that'd be awesome. Like they missed on some of these
Just
opportunities,
raffle it
man.
off, man.
Yeah, I miss that because like,
Where
you tune into a Tigers game and like August 15th or like
it's like a
there's that
Tuesday
one guy.
afternoon at 1 p.m.
Yeah,
Yeah, Tuesday afternoon, 1 p.m. It's like 100 degrees outside.
and there's only like 7,000 people there, but like there's one guy in the 300 section like way up there, like the top row. He won't give up his
Yeah.
seat.
Yeah, he's the
Um
reason they had to close Mount Davis in Oakland, like
yeah,
for the baseball
exactly.
games.
So I think they missed an opportunity there, but I'm
They should,
fired
yeah,
up.
just scatter some random people out there, make them do a test beforehand. Like, no big deal, you know?
I think it's weird when they pan back and they show like the whole stadium like landscape and then it's like a ghost town. That's where it's like a little bit
Yeah, and they're
weird.
like,
Like
look, COVID, and it's like supposed to be this like evil, mysterious thing, and it's just like,
yeah,
okay, guys, like,
and
no,
I'm
don't
sure
do
they're
that.
like just trying to show kind of like, hey, this is going and this is what it's gonna be like. But we get the picture. Like
Yeah,
or let's just like show the field. But I'm
yeah.
with you. So in addition to those two things, I think thinking about it more, I was trying to do some research today, and I guess there is some avenues that are like this, but how has Major League Baseball not said, okay, look, like we're gonna offer like a 100% live at bat red zone type situation on MLB Network, which most people
Yeah.
have. They don't have the extra package, but like what talk about a way to like build your viewership and get people tuned
Well,
in,
there's a reason why the NFL is just that much better than every single sport. And it's not
dude.
just the sport itself. There's a reason the NFL has captured millions upon hundreds of millions of people that don't even like football or didn't
Yeah,
play football, have no interest. But the Red Zone channel itself has literally drawn them into football, seeing highlights. I mean, NFL has been doing that since what, 2007, I think it was.
because like
MLB still
because like
hasn't done it. Golf still hasn't done it. It's like, guys, there's crazy
it
sports
makes
fans out there that want to watch every single
it makes
minute all
no
the
sense,
time.
dude. It makes no sense. Like, if I'm like, doing casual housework or like a casual fan is not going to tune into like the MLB package and one, pay for
Look,
it, and two,
look,
like go to watch like the Tigers Orioles. But if I'm hanging around the house or I'm doing stuff and I just have it on in the background, like, yeah, I'll tune into a bases loaded, situation or something if it's like
yeah.
the Orioles
We're
and
in an
Marlins.
attention
Like,
span culture, right? Like everything needs to be shortened down to nothing so people can pay attention to it. And
it makes no
look,
sense, dude.
I'll be the Andrew Siciliano of baseball. Pay me
Oh, you're gonna
50 grand
nominate
a year.
yourself?
Yeah, pay me 50 grand a year, MLB. I'll sit there and I'll go, oh, look at this home run. Boom, Chris Davis. You know what I mean? And
Chris
then
Davis.
you can pay someone 50K a season and they would love their job just to change the channel for all of America of what's happening in baseball. Oh, this is an interesting moment. Change. Like
But like
someone would do
two,
that for less than 50K.
you're right, and like yeah, and I
It's
mean
not
remember
much of an
just
investment for MLB, dude. Like, and
well
they
the
could
last
make
couple of years
billions.
MLB Network will do it like periodically, like at night, but they'll like take away from a game or there'll be like three games going on. They'll peel back from like let's say the night game, the A's Angels, and they'll just like
Mhm.
start talking about something like a an in studio type operation. It's like just show the games. Show
Yeah.
the game. Show, like you don't need to keep like going back to talk about it and debate. Like what makes, like you said, the NFL great and some of these things is like they just let the product speak for itself. Like
And look,
pan around to different
NFL's
games, pan around to different feeds. Like let's get some action.
fantasy sports and daily fantasy sports, especially for Major League Baseball, has become a massive deal. Playing fantasy sports for a full season of baseball is always kind of crappy,
Yeah.
but playing DFS baseball is amazing. And the fact that they haven't capitalized on that, they're like, okay, what scores points in DFS? Strikeouts, steals,
Right.
home runs, RBIs. Like just keep panning to those things, and you will have an audience hooked for 4 straight hours,
And
and they'll
not just,
pay tons of money to do it.
dude, not just that, like, I think the one thing these other sports could like really learn from the NFL and the NBA to a certain extent is like every time Mike Trout comes out, he's on TV. Yelich, all
Mm-hmm.
these like superstars, Harper, dude, like give the casual fan opportunities to watch these guys more and more and more, and like
Yeah,
it will slowly build more viewers. It will build more like fans. Like that's what they want to see. So you could have split screens. You could have Yelich on one and Harper on the other. You could have, hey, oh, we're gonna go to
it's like, look,
Scherzer up here. Scherzer's dealing. He's got 8 Ks, or no hitter going.
I have
Like,
an 80-inch TV for a reason. It,
yeah,
multiple things belong on this screen. Okay.
it's so obvious, man, and I don't understand like why they can't make it happen because it for baseball fans, like it would be amazing, and then for the casual fan who complains and like everybody always talks about like pace of play and how do we get the game faster? There's too much standing around. Like, well,
The
I
game
know
can
I could
stay the
have
same, and they can
four
fix it on
games going
TV.
off. Yeah, I could have four games going at the same time, constantly just rotating it, and it's like, well, that's action because three of them
Yeah,
might not have one, but all of a sudden double play down here, and then a steal up here. Like there's action all the time, and if you break it up,
always.
like
Especially like when there's 11 games going on at once.
dude,
And
like
it's like, yeah,
Friday
pick
would be
four
like,
games that are like the best games, like the
I
four
know,
best games of the night. Like just focus on those four. Make it
I hear
simple.
you. So MLB
But
Network needs to take note. And the other thing that I was thinking about, and I know baseball players will never do this. We talked to Chris about this on the last pod. Is like if you could bridge somehow the Redzone channel with maybe like a premium channel beyond that, where it's like
mhm,
players are mic'd up. And yeah, you could have a few second delay or something like that to catch any kind of like swearing or something said that's like a little bit over the line, like they could pull
yeah.
back or mute it or something. But like air this out. Like I think like some of the best shows are like when they replay some of the NFL like mic'd up or the NFL
Well, they were
HBO where
testing
they're like
it.
on the field like with cameras and they have guys
Yeah.
mic'd up. It's like give the fans who can't go to games more of an experience to watch and you will
Yeah.
get that. Like people will tune in.
Yeah. I mean, they were testing it on in spring training. They were testing, they were miking up
Hmm.
players, and it was really
Yeah.
funny, like especially when they were miking up a first baseman, his conversations with everyone leading off at first base.
Dude, it's
Like,
hilarious.
and you can pick and choose what you want to put on. And again, they play the mic'd up stuff after. It's not live. And so we don't need it live. Like
Yeah.
we get it. Like if something's really bad, we get it. Like it's not that big of a deal.
You could
So
have a
there's a lot
30
of things that
second
MLB can do.
you could have a 30-second delay going and muting out if players don't want swearing or don't want this, like whatever they agree to, but it's like giving that the fans again that more like intimate thing, it's only
Yeah,
going to make the sport more popular.
exactly.
So
And again, everything's going statistical, everything's going DFS. They could have a premium channel where guys explaining what the hell is going on versus two or three idiots just babbling in the booth because they were awesome Hall of Famers back in their day, which, all respect. But,
yeah.
watching that game the other night with the Cubs and the White Sox, like
Hmm.
there was moments it was just unbearable. The three of them were just chit-chatting and they think they're hilarious. And they might be hilarious to a much older crowd, but like to me, I was sitting there like, Jesus, guys, like I just want to watch some baseball. Like maybe give me some analytical stuff, like, oh yeah, his swing or his approach. Maybe he shouldn't be, trying to hit it to right field. Like give me something other than some bullshit
But
conversation,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, and again, NFL, like they let the product speak for themselves during the games, but like the pregame, and I know there's games like spread out all throughout the day and time zones and things like that, but like they've got a channel that's pregame that's fantasy focused. They've got four different like pregame shows. Like during the game, you could have options where you
hmm
actually like tune into a specific channel, and it's like here's the optimal DFS scores that are going off. Like there's so much
Yep.
around it built to cater for the fan at home. Like that's why I feel like MLB is just like yeah, we're just going to do the same thing we've done for like 90 years, and our product will speak for itself.
They
It's
just
like,
sell their money on their hats and jerseys
yeah,
merchandise.
man, it's like you have
Idiots.
superstars everywhere. Almost every team has them, and you should be featuring these guys. Like that's how you grow.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know who these bigger players are, right? Like I
Yeah.
was actually talking to some teenager the other day. He actually kind of decently likes baseball, and I was talking about the Braves, and I bring up Acuna, and he's all, "Who's that?" And it was just like, he might have been an idiot, but
Right.
at the same time, it's like, well, if you live here in California, you're not watching Atlanta Braves games.
Right. Right. Right.
So it's like, guys, you need to feature these people because he's a star.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's so
Um,
segmented. You know who the stars are in your market, but nobody on the East Coast knows who Matt Chapman is for the A's. Like
yeah,
they
exactly.
should. But it's
Right.
just a missed opportunity.
Exactly. Um, Next thing in baseball, probably maybe our last thing here is the Blue Jays. Not the not so Toronto Blue Jays.
The Toronto
Um,
Nomads.
they don't have a team, man.
No, they don't have a stadium. They
um,
don't have a home.
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. I mean, their team, they don't have a stadium. They don't have a home. Like where they have 30 games to play at home somewhere. I mean,
So for
they've been
those who
saying all these
missed
possible
it,
places. Oh yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So for those who missed it, Toronto and Canada basically said we're not going to have a team going back and forth between Canada and the United States, as well as other teams coming in, every week or every other week. So they basically told no games in Toronto. So Blue Jays we're 3 days out from the season starting, 4 days out, and they don't
Yeah.
have a stadium to play in.
Yeah. So the potential places they've been at least talking about is PNC Park in Pittsburgh,
Mm-hmm.
which that's where the Pirates play. So that'll be interesting. Then you
So I looked
got
at that, or I saw someone post earlier that they were saying there's only 7 games that would conflict, or 7 days where like the
But
Blue Jays
again,
and the
that goes
Pirates would have.
so against all of the COVID stuff they're trying to do.
You're sharing locker rooms.
That goes, I
Everything.
mean, no one's
Yeah,
using locker rooms, but you got to use all the same stuff. I mean, that's not
yeah.
limiting anything. I do not see that flying at all.
I don't.
Um,
Yeah,
the Buffalo AAA Stadium, I love the idea of it just being up in Buffalo. The only thing, I mean, it works for them, right? Because they're playing against all those teams up in the Northeast, anyways,
right.
in the AL East, and they got to do their NL East counterparts. So it really makes sense for them to be there in Buffalo, even though
Mm-hmm.
they said they don't want to play at a AAA stadium. Which who cares? Because there's no fans. As long as the
Yeah,
dimensions are right, I don't. I'd go play like they're playing the game, the Field of Dreams game this year.
dude,
I would
that
like,
stadium's probably better than the Coliseum for the A's playing.
dude, for real.
You know.
So I don't understand why players are like mad about that one. Or a training facility down in Florida, which again with all this COVID stuff, I don't see them adding a team to Florida, even though Florida's probably like, hey, come on in. Um,
I mean, Florida makes a lot of sense because of the division, right? You've
yeah,
got your,
staying on the East Coast in general, that's what's
well,
gonna
they
make
have
sense.
to. They have to be East Coast, but I mean, they're in the same division as the Rays, right?
Hmm.
So you're right there. I don't know where exactly their facility is, but I'm guessing it's not that far. Like you could
Hmm.
do a bus ride. For 15 games, they're probably going to play each other. Because everything's
Yeah.
condensed in division only. So yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. I was trying to think of just like off the wall crazy stuff, like where they could play. Um, but it's limited because the players aren't going to go play at like some like rinkety stadium, because it'd be cool for us, but like they're not going to do it.
Yeah. So I say we talk about some of the places that are cool for us. I'm not. Let's just avoid the players. I mean,
Okay.
a lot of these guys grew up on the Dominican Republic islands and then have to move up to Canada. So that's probably wasn't their first
Hmm.
choice either. So I'm going to say one, and I think this would be great for us, but Mexico. And Kenny Powers is the only person that really influenced me to do that. I mean, can you
Where?
imagine up in the 7,000 foot altitude, up in Mexico City, just the
Yeah,
home
but
runs that would get blasted out of there?
that can't happen because they're limiting the East Coast teams. Remember, everything's like segmented East
No, I
Coast.
know.
You'd have to do it in like Cancun.
I'm talking for like the forever future.
Oh, okay, just to move there permanently. Like say
Yeah,
like
Mexico
exclude
City,
Toronto.
and like
Um,
just one up Colorado and say, yeah, we have a higher altitude than you, and they just
yeah,
just hit bombs.
I'm with that.
I think
I
it'd be
think like
great.
like some kind of island would be cool.
It's
Like
like a fight island.
or yeah, just rock and roll off. Like move it to Cuba. Like I don't know. I'm sure some players would be like, cool. Well, maybe not, but
Well, dude, or you just go down the Dominican Republic.
that's what I'm saying.
I mean, you get the best players ever.
Their facilities down there are nice now. Like they've completely
Mm-hmm.
redone like most teams' facilities and everything. You could probably, I don't know if the Florida Keys has any like, sweet stadiums or anything, but you can make it work. There's stadiums everywhere, dude. I
Dude,
think it'd be
everywhere.
cool to have like kind of a traveling road show, and like you just kind of like every home series they play is like a different AAA stadium.
Yeah.
And
I think
fans
I
can't
think
go
they should.
anyway.
Yeah, I think they should only play in like AA, AAA stadiums. Why not? With all the advertisements on the field and stuff, I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, that would make them like my front runner team if they were playing with advertisements all over the walls like a minor league stadium would be like. I think the Toronto Blue Jays have a chance to be that Cinderella team that we're making a movie about someday, or a 30 for 30. You know what I mean?
Got their
Look at
home
the
strip from
young
them, and then they
talent they
go
have
on
on
to
that
win.
team. Yeah,
They
man, they got
are.
this young talent, right? And they got a couple of veterans on their team that are strong. I think they're going to be very competitive this year. Their only
Right.
downside is they're in the New York Yankees division,
It's a
with the
problem.
Rays. But at the same time, I think they're going to be better than the Red Sox this year. I think they have a chance of competing with the Rays this year.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what the Yankees have in store for them. And
Yeah.
again, they have that young energy, and you do something like this. I don't know. It brings team camaraderie together to another level, and we all know that baseball is a team camaraderie sport for sure. Like it's all about the energy in the building, and if you're just on a bus all the time with your team, like you don't even have a home,
Yeah. I mean, that
like
was
it's
one.
gonna bring people together.
I forgot what an NBA player just said that, but they were just talking about that how like being secluded in that bubble is like it's the tightest the team's been in like 2 or 3 years. Just because like even when you go on a road trip, guys kind of scatter, they kind of do their own thing. Like
Yeah,
can't really do that like in the bubble. Like you have like three places you can go,
it's
and
like
so
when
they're
they
like
send us away for football camp. They make you
right.
spend a week together. I mean, the way that you don't go there for football, you go there for team chemistry.
Right. Yeah, we should have some news here pretty soon. But yeah, I think it'd be kind of cool. Like, I mean, if they could just stand up some kind of like sweet Field of Dreams type thing, and get like a whole city to like build them a stadium real quick.
Yeah, dude.
In the middle of a cornfield somewhere. Like, I think that'd be
Well, they
awesome.
are doing the Field of Dreams game
I
this year.
know.
They are going to go through with that, which is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm with you. I
Especially
think
with no
that
fans. It kind of worked out perfect.
I could see the young players too, like you were saying, like not really like caring too much about it. Guerrero and Kevon
Yeah.
Biggio and stuff. They're just kind of like whatever. Like let's just play ball.
Yeah.
Whereas like the Giants would be all like pissing and moaning about it and like all upset, and, like complaining about like the dirt not being the proper like
Oh my
material.
God. Yeah, I can see that.
So
But yeah, I just hope so everyone. We got Thursday night baseball this week, but for DFS, we're not going to do any coverage on that because it's only a 2-game slate. Friday, we got a 13-game slate, I believe, from 1 o'clock
one.
until 7. So we're gonna have our DFS coverage coming out on. Was it?
We'll probably have it coming out Friday morning.
So Friday morning, we'll have all of our DFS coverage coming out for Friday. So tune in. We'll have a specific DFS episodes going forward as well. So you can tune into those. Those be shorter, faster, get right to the point. Show you guys what your plays are going to be so we can all win some money collectively.
We'll also have a show coming out on Thursday, kind of previewing, the season again. I know we did our little like division previews leading up to the season before that got shut down. So that worked out really well. And then everything changed. So maybe Thursday we'll kind of re-hit on the divisions, how things may have changed with some of the opt-outs and, who we think are going to win each division. And I think we'll also, if I'm not mistaken, have kind of our predictions on, season awards and, MVPs and who we think is going to kind of win the title. So it should be a good show Thursday.
Yeah, and guys, I want you guys in the comments to comment on or on my Twitter. Our Twitter's been going on the bottom here the whole time. Who is going to be the worst team in Major League Baseball? And do you think the Seattle Mariners win 10 games out of their 60 this season?
Ooh.
Those are my 2 questions, guys. I'll post that on Twitter as well.
All right.
All right,
That's
guys, tune in on Friday morning. Be good to go.
Later.
Later, guys.